Settle in, because this is a weird one, and it's still a little hard to talk about. I always thought stalkers were something that happened to other people, to movie stars or characters in thrillers. I was wrong. I was so wrong. This was a few years ago when I was living in this old apartment building on the north side of Chicago. It was a pretty typical place. 3 stories, brick, with a long hallway that smelled like old carpet and whatever the neighbors were cooking. I worked as a graphic designer, mostly from home. My life was pretty simple. I had my friends, my dog, and my routine. Nothing out of the ordinary, and that's how I liked it. The first sign was something so small I almost dismissed it. I have this little habit of putting my keys on a hook right by the door when I get home. One evening, I came back from a run and found them on the kitchen counter instead. I figured I must have just put them there without thinking. Whatever. Except the next morning, I found a different set of keys, my bike lock keys, sitting on top of my laptop. I definitely didn't put them there. That's when the first little crack appeared. Then I started seeing him. I was pretty sure it was a guy. A tall figure, always wearing a green hoodie pulled up tight. The first time was just a quick glimpse. I was walking home from the corner store and I saw someone duck behind a parked car across the street. I only caught the flash of a green hoodie in a dark shape. I just told myself it was some kid trying to get out of the rain. But then I saw him again a week later. This time I was taking my dog Buster out for a late night walk. Buster, by the way, is a golden retriever who loves everyone. But that night he started growling low in his throat. I looked up and there he was, standing under the streetlight at the end of the block. The green hoodie again. The hood was pulled up and he was just standing there, facing my apartment building. When he saw me looking, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the darkness. Looking back, I should have called the police right then, but I didn't want to sound paranoid. Who would believe me? There's a guy in a hoodie who just stands there? It sounds ridiculous, even now. Things started getting worse. The little things escalated. I got a message on my Instagram from an account with no picture, just a string of random numbers. The message said, "Your porch light is out." I checked. It was. I'd been meaning to change the bulb for a week, but I hadn't told anyone. After that, the messages started coming more often. Sometimes they were simple, like "nice new haircut." Other times they were terrifyingly specific. I remember one morning I was wearing a yellow t-shirt I hadn't worn in years. I got a text a few hours later from a burner number I didn't recognize. "Yellow is a good color on you." I was shaking so hard I couldn't even text back. I didn't know how he was getting my number or how he knew what I was wearing. The only way was if he was watching my window. I became obsessed with looking for him. I'd check the street from my window, trying to catch a glimpse of that green hoodie. My assumption about him being a man was so solid in my head. The stalker stereotype, It was always some weird guy. It was all I could picture. The climax happened about 3 weeks into all this. It was late, maybe 1 a.m. I was up trying to finish a project, and I heard a noise. Not a loud noise, just a soft scuffing sound from outside my front door. I froze. The hallway light in my building is on a motion sensor, but it was dark. No one was out there, at least not in the light. I grabbed a baseball bat I kept by the door. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my ears. I slowly, carefully slid the deadbolt open and peered through the peephole. My vision was distorted, but I could just make out a figure, a person, standing right outside my door. The green hoodie was up, obscuring their face in the dark hall. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Just watched the figure stand there for what felt like an eternity. They weren't doing anything, just being there, staring at my door. And then they did something that made my blood run cold. They lifted their hand and gently, with their index finger, traced the letter J on the door, my initial. That's when I lost it. I screamed, a primal, terrified scream that tore from my throat. I slammed the deadbolt back into place, grabbed my phone, and called 911. I was sobbing so hard I could barely give my address. I waited for what felt like a lifetime. The police arrived and 2 officers went to check the building, but they found nothing. As they were leaving, one of them turned to me and said, "Ma'am, there's someone here who says they saw something. Your neighbor from 2B." I was confused. My neighbor? I rarely talked to her. She was a quiet woman in her late 20s, always wore a lot of makeup and kept to herself. She came to my door, her face pale. I heard the screaming," she said, her voice shaking. I saw her right outside your door." "Who?" I asked, my mind still racing. "The guy in the green hoodie?" She looked at me, a strange expression on her face. "No," she said softly, "the girl. She's gone now, but I saw her leave." My world just stopped. The girl. It was never a guy. The slender figure in the blurry photos, the person ducking behind a car, the one tracing my name on my door, it had been her all along. My neighbor, the quiet girl from 2B who I saw every day in the hallway. I never went back to that apartment. I packed a bag the next day and stayed with a friend, and I haven't been back since. The police couldn't do much. There wasn't a direct threat, just a series of unsettling, terrifying coincidences and a fear that still hasn't left me. I still have nightmares about that green hoodie. Sometimes I'll be out walking and I'll see a woman wearing a hoodie with the hood pulled up, and my heart just leaps into my throat. The scariest part wasn't knowing someone was watching me. It was realizing that I'd been so wrong about who it was. The person I thought was my stalker was just a ghost in my head, while the real one was living just a few feet away. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many times have you been completely wrong about something or someone standing right there in front of you?